Good morning and welcome again to another Making Monday's Matter. I hope we had a wonderful weekend and that last week was kind to us. This morning, I want for us to take a look at the subject of being prepared, preparation. Uh, on Thursday, I believe it was, I was reading an article by Kerry Newhoff, and he was pointing out that the future can be very unkind for those who are unprepared for it. And that got me thinking, especially over the weekend and as we prepare to enter into this new week, how prepared are we for the future? And in light of all that's happening now, with all the unknowns, how prepared can we be for the future? Well, the question is not knowing what the future will hold, but basically, how can we prepare ourselves for the eventualities of what may come? It cast my mind back to my younger days when I was still in college and in athletics. I had a coach who always said to me, David, go into each race with a plan, even if you have to abandon it. In those younger days, sometimes these things didn't always make a whole lot of sense to you at the time. But as I've grown older, it has come to mean more and more to me. And I want for us this morning that as we look towards the future, that we have a plan. We may not know everything that can happen, and we never really will know everything that can happen. But the important thing is to have a plan, to be prepared as possible. For example, we know right now that the hurricane season, Atlantic hurricane season, is about to begin again in a few days' time. We don't know if we will be impacted. I mean, your general location will be impacted by any storm systems. But it is important that you take every precaution that you can just in case. You don't know the severity of the hurricane system that may impact. Remember what happened in the Bahamas just last year. But again, it is important that you have a plan, that you are prepared as best you can be. Because those persons who at least have a plan, who have some level of preparation, are better able to weather the storm. And so it is with us even today. And so I ask us, all of us, the question, what are your plans for the future? How prepared are you for the future? Not just physically prepared, but mentally prepared. Are you prepared for changes that can happen? Or are you hoping that everything remains the same? Because sometimes that is the real challenge. Persons want things to remain as they were, even when they're changing. And if your mindset allows you to adapt to change, you then are better prepared for the future. You may not necessarily be physically prepared, but you are better prepared for the future. And so it's important that we go into every scenario, every opportunity with a plan. And speaking now to persons who are involved in sales, I come from a sales background in my earlier days in corporate and in consultancy. And one of the things that you were always reminded of, yes, know your product, know your service, but better yet, understand as best you can what the customer requires. Because no matter how fancy your widget is, unless it addresses the concerns of the customer, then it really is of no real value. And so that's where the preparation comes in. You prepare by understanding what your customer requires. You prepare by understanding who your customer is. You prepare by getting a sense of the problem that your customer is seeking to solve so that when you are in discussion with them, you are speaking to what their real needs are. And so that is preparation. That is preparation for that future event, for that future meeting that you have with your customer. Those of you who are physical fitness trainers, you may have a great program, but unless the program that you have is addressing your client's needs, they will quickly lose faith and interest in you unless you can adapt that program to match their particular needs. And there is, again, the preparation. You need to be prepared to alter what it is that you do to benefit your client. And as we come now to our own lives, our own situations, as leaders, as we take our families or communities or organizations or businesses forward, we too need to be as prepared as we can be. Having an idea as to where you want to go, what your goals are, and then the steps that are needed to get there. Many of us have an idea of where we want to get to, but we have never stopped to plan or to prepare the things that we need to do in order to get there. And this can be very, very important because to get to a destination, there's always the journey. And if you are ill prepared for that journey, the chances of reaching that destination becomes reduced. And so I urge us this morning that as we go forward into this week, into this new week, with new opportunities, that we seek to prepare ourselves as best we can, physically, mentally, emotionally, for what may come, even when we don't know the specifics of what can come. Do what we can, do what is in our power to be as best prepared as we can be. And so until we see each other again next Monday, be prepared and do the best we can, and success will be yours. This is David Ince for Living Successfully for another Making Mondays Matter.